ìpínlẹ̀ Èkìtì, ìpínlẹ̀ Ẹ̀yẹ́. Ìpínlẹ̀ Èkìtì, ulẹ̀ uyì ní. Ìpínlẹ̀ Èkìtì, ìmọ̀ ti gòkè àgbà o. Ayé ayé a ò láyé ọmọ Fáyẹ̀mí. Ìpínlẹ̀ Èkìtì, ìpínlẹ̀ Ẹ̀yẹ́.
Set that ball rolling. My name is Kyle.
Hello and welcome to Ekiti on the Move. I am Tunji Saliu. Good things keep coming to Ekiti State as a direct consequence of the many developmental and transformational programs of the government of Dr. Kayode Fayemi. As the hugely successful NAFEST 2021 that brought thousands of delegates from 31 states to Ekiti was rounding off, another delegates to the 13th National Council on Industry, Trade and Investment also landed in Ekiti for the Council's annual general meeting. Ekiti is no doubt in the news for good reasons. Part of the good news in Ekiti was the disbursement of about £500 million Naira. Yes, you heard me right, to 70 communities in granting aid program of the state government. Lastly, the Ekiti Gender-Based Violence Management Committee submitted its annual report to the governor recently, and it was an account of success story in the last 1 year. Let's now have our quick takes, and we'll be right back to the stories. Stay with us. And now to our first story. The state was still basking in the euphoria of a successful hosting and, of course, winning of NAFEST 2021, when it again received delegates from across the country for the 13th National Council on Industry, Trade and Investment. It was another 5 days of experiencing an investment-friendly Ekiti and a veritable opportunity for the state to tell our story of a ready and growing investment destination.
They came from all over the country, commissioners, permanent secretaries from states, ministries of industry, trade and investment, and other stakeholders. The focus was the role of stakeholders on micro, small and medium-scale enterprises development in Nigeria. The meeting witnessed an open session and the launch of patronized made-in-Nigerian goods and services. In attendance were Governor Kayode Fayemi, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Otumba Adebayo, and other dignitaries. Governor Fayemi, like a consummate marketer, read out various programs, projects, laws and policies put in place by his government to make Ekiti a preferred investment destination.
In Ekiti State, our government had in the last 3 years focused its intervention in the state commercial sector on activities and programs designed to develop the MSMEs in the state. Grants and loans were made available to operators of micro, small and medium businesses in the state. As a responsive and responsible government, we have demonstrated commitment to MSMEs and the business environment. This has been through a collaborative multi-agency approach led by our Ministry of Trade and Industry. We have set up the Ekiti State Development and Investment Promotion Agency, EKDIPA, as a one-stop shop for investor-related activities, as well as being the anchor for our ease of doing business initiatives. Today, we have attracted almost $100 million of investment into the state, especially in the agriculture, technology, and infrastructure space. Some of these include Pomasido Nigeria's limited investment in our Ikunderi farm, which is now producing 80,000 liters of milk per month after being moribund for almost 4 decades. Investments in cassava by FMS Farms and Promise Point, oil palm investments by Ella Lakes, rice investment by Stallion Group and JMK Foods, as well as other investments in snail farms, beef production, and fish farming. We have also attracted significant investment in technology, with at least 2 broadband players responding to our reduced cost of laying fiber. As you would recall, Ekiti was the very first state to reduce the cost of laying fiber from 4,600 to 140 Naira per linear meter.
Otumba Adebayo explained the philosophy behind the campaign for Made in Nigerian Goods, as well as federal government's commitment to developing the SMSE sector.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, considering the important role of MSME development, the ministry and its agencies have engaged in promoting and facilitating development programs, instruments and support services to accelerate the development and modernization of MSME operations in the country. The Conditional Grant Scheme, CGS, is aimed at providing SMEs access to markets, finance and training, and extension services. Advancements for Women in Agriculture, Agro-Allied and Cottage Industry Enterprises, AWAKE program, has successfully developed the agro-processing capacities of women. The National Business Skill Development Initiative has 3 components: entrepreneurship training, vocational skills training, and provision of empowerment materials. The ministry has not relented in its efforts at supporting the growth and development of the MSME sector. It has evolved a policy called Made in Nigeria Products and Services, which is anchored on 3 pillars, namely increase industrial productivity, increase non-oil exports, and decrease the import of consumer goods. The implementation of the program commenced in 2017 in form of national sensitization campaigns in some states of the Federation. The campaign seeks to encourage local manufacturers to produce high-quality competitive goods and services for both domestic and international markets, and also to encourage Nigerian consumers to patronize locally made goods and services.
He, in company of the host governor and other dignitaries, flagged off the campaign at the newly commissioned Ekiti Civic and Convention Center at Ekiti, which also played host to some exhibitors of Made in Nigerian products.
We declare this exhibition open to the glory of God and the benefit of all participants at this National Council. Amen.
Call it 11th hour surprises in the 11th month, and you'll not be wrong, as what appeared like a Naira rain occurred in Ekiti on the last day of the month of November. It started with the state government defraying a month of salary arrears owed workers by previous administration, along with the November salary, a disbursement of over 100 million Naira as car loans to civil servants, and distribution of checks totaling 497 million Naira to 70 communities across the state for development projects. It is unprecedented.
Kíkọ́ ọgbà yìí ààfin kábíyèsí ní Ìṣẹ̀ Èkìtì, first thing of the palace. 2,500,000 ní ṣẹ́ẹ̀kì tí yóò wà lọ́wọ́ yìí, wọ́n ní ká fi tú ààfin ọba ṣe ní ìpàdé. kábíyèsí ọ̀hún owó fún mílíọ̀nù mẹ́rin fún dùbàní palace. The fulfillment of the promises made during the electionary campaigns and also at different fora that all the abandoned and uncompleted projects initiated during my first tenure in office, which the last administration failed to complete, shall be completed. You will recall that I called a stakeholders meeting on the state of the state economy through which the position of our state finance was reviewed. Ordinarily, this program ought to have been suspended as a result of the economic challenges confronting the state. But as a responsible government, we realize that most leaders failed because they cut off the feedback channel and allowed only positive signal. I was not elected to complain, but for service delivery. I've committed myself and this administration that all the abandoned or completed projects must be completed and commissioned. We have therefore decided to release these grants in aid assistance fund for completion of the projects in batches. Let me assure you that the interval for the release shall not take long before, and shall not take long period, and it shall be a continuous process until all the projects are completed.
The essence of this policy is to domesticate governance with the people. Domesticate governance with the people in the sense that these are community-driven projects. They are projects that are initiated by each community and based on peculiarity and the priority of each community determines what we are really doing. So it is not a project initiated by government. It is a bottom-top approach system whereby each community sit down in their various communities, whether in their palaces or whatever each group, and decided to arrive at a project. And the project they brought as their priority project is what we adopt as areas where we support them in achieving their aims. And beyond the fact that it is initiated by community, we are domesticating the economy with the people, because whatever is given to each community will be spent by the community, and those who will be employed to drive the process at the local level are basically people who live in that community. So they are indigenous within the area. So you've added value to the economy by one way or the other. And in terms of skills also, people who have to learn new skills, and those who have learned new skills want to display their new skills. So artisans within the community will be mobilized and they will benefit immensely from this process.
At the beginning of his administration, he sent to all communities, each of them, to indicate areas of preference, priority programs, and every community wrote something. And just to let them know that he has not forgotten, he's now taking those community and priority projects one by one. It shows thoroughness in his administration, it shows his concern for his people, it shows his sense of welfare and his governance capacity. The check is for the completion of the Oba's Palace, which was started during the first regime of JKF, of John Kayode Fayemi. And we are very grateful to the governor. Like I wrote when I was greeting him during the 3rd year anniversary and the Ekiti something, I continue to marvel how he manages the resources of these states to the extent that it touches all aspects of life. We are aware of what he has just done with salaries, paying arrears, pensions, gratuities. He has just disbursed almost $500 million to communities to complete various projects. Under these austere times, I think it demands our appreciation, it demands a big kudos from every one of us.
The priority need of the community is to complete the palace, the Ogo Palace project that is going on in that community, and we received 2.5 million naira from the governor. We are going to utilize that money judiciously with a very short period. Before we came here, we have already mobilized people who will work on this project, and by the grace of God, that project will complete in a very short time.
We are using it to do the covert and drainage because we have no road network. That was what we are agitating for, and thank God the governor came to our aid to give all this, and we make sure that we utilize it to the fullest. Had it been the people governor has been doing it, and by now we won't have any problem with the communities. So far I have started, and I'm praying that the incoming government will emulate the good gesture and do the needful as well.
Fún ribiribi tó ṣe fún wa fún ṣẹ́ẹ̀kì láti fi parí àòfin wa àfin ìlú Ègbè ọpẹ́ wa pọ̀ pé wọ́n ṣe ohun kó àròtì wa.
A ti ń kó ààfin kan lọ ní tọjọ́ yẹn lọ́hùn òun náà ló fún wa lówó díẹ̀ ìlú wa ti ń ṣiṣẹ́ yẹn lọ ṣe tí ìjọba ẹ̀ tó tún padà dé yìí ibi tá a bá ṣẹ́ yẹn dé tá a lè parí ẹ̀ náà la tún máa lọ fi lè tú ààfin yẹn ṣe torí ọba gan ò tí máa gbé ààfin ọ̀ǹtí tá a bá lọ da owó ìbò tó ṣe é gbé lọ́ba ṣe máa kó wa sáàfin.
Mo náà ti fi àsìkò yìí dúpọ́ lọ́wọ́ gómìnà lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ nítorí pé ní àkọ́kọ́ ó ti kọ́kọ́ fún wa ní owó tí a ti fẹ́ fi parí ààfin yẹn owó tó wọ́n dẹ̀ wá fún wa lẹ́ẹ̀kejì báyìí láti parí ẹ̀ and within 2 or 3 weeks àwa fẹ́ commission palace ti wa àwa ti ready àdúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Èkìtì ohun ìyàlẹ́nu ó jẹ́ fèmí torí pé èmi jẹ́ kò ìpẹ́ tí mo retire ní service bó ṣe rí owó tó ń fún gbogbo communities wọ̀nyí Ọlọ́run àtúbọ̀ máa mú ìjọba yìí dúró yóò dára fún wọn o.
Governor Kayode Fayemi is already making it a December to remember in Ekiti. Good governance at work. And still on good governance, Ekiti State has demonstrated its zero tolerance to gender-based violence through many initiatives aimed at curbing the menace under the aegis of the state's GBV Management Committee. Here is the report of the committee in the last 1 year.
Elsewhere, it is lack of political will that drives the growing menace of gender-based violence. But in Ekiti, under the watch of Governor Kayode Fayemi, the state has demonstrated the required will through laws, policies, advocacy, unmistakable body language, as well as statutory bodies to stem the ugly tide. One of such bodies is the GBV Management Committee, under the chairmanship of the First Lady, Irelubisi Fayemi, who was recently acknowledged as one of the 100 most influential civil society personalities. The committee submitted its annual report on activities in the last 1 year, and little wonder, Ekiti ranks among the leading states, giving GBV the red card.
In February 2021, Ekiti State joined Niger, Edo, and Abia states in a pilot project called Pathways to Addressing Sexual and Gender-Based Violence, supported by the Ford Foundation. This initiative is meant to strengthen GBV responses in the 4 states. In Ekiti State, the following has been accomplished under this initiative: capacity building for the Ekiti GBV Management Committee, 5 training workshops for key stakeholders, development of a GBV Standard Operating Procedures Manual, which is one of the documents we are about to present to you, a GBV Training Manual, which is also another document we have to present to you, a comprehensive referral pathway for GBV survivors in Ekiti State. We organized 8 town hall meetings with communities across the state in all senatorial districts. We paid advocacy visits to 6 tertiary institutions across the state, and this has resulted in the development of anti-GBV and sexual harassment policies in all these institutions. We ran a 13-week GBV radio advocacy program on 4 radio stations. We also ran an online GBV advocacy campaign. We established at least 10 anti-GBV clubs in around the state. We produced a 35-minute documentary on GBV mitigation in Ekiti State, and we have also produced a 10-minute GBV film. On Friday, December 3rd, just last Friday, there was a review meeting of this project with the Ford Foundation and the Nigerian Academy of Science in Abuja with the 4 states. And I'm happy to let you know, Your Excellency, that all 4 states have done very well with the project, and the donors are so impressed, particularly with Ekiti State, that they have committed to renewing the grant at the end of the project period in March 2022. Other activities we have carried out in the course of the year include the launch of a GBV policy by the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology on June 16, 2021, with specific directives to prevent school-related gender-based violence. Through the GBV Survivors Fund, over 250 women have been supported over the past year. All wives of local government chairmen in the 16 local governments have established a local GBV committee for effective advocacy and monitoring at grassroots level. Due to the strong links between mental health and gender-based violence, the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Justice, and my office sponsored a bill on mental health, which was passed and signed into law by you, Your Excellency, on October 11, 2021.
For a government that declared zero tolerance for GBV by enacting the law as far back as 2011, and a governor who is passionate about gender issues, sustaining the gains of today is paramount to Governor Fayemi, who would be leaving office soon.
And I also link that to the theme of this year's 16 days of activism, which is about sustaining the gains, as you mentioned. It's always been a concern that I've expressed to you privately about sustaining gains, given what happened to us in this state between 2014 and 2018 on a number of these significant steps that were taken between 2010 and 2014. And there are a number of mechanisms that I believe must take this beyond government into the communities and ensuring that the sustainability does not depend on the largesse or support coming from government coffers. Important as that may be to the critical work that has been done so far and that you continue to do in this regard, if it is to maintain its leading position, we have to make sure that we address this issue. And I'm glad that you've also spoken about a GBV resource mobilization framework. I hope in the course of developing that framework, we would build into it a sustainability mechanism that goes beyond government. I want to really commend you and the team for these publications, which I believe will also serve as a model to other states where on issues that it has already been the leading light.
Governor Fayemi particularly commended the GBV Management Committee for effective deployment of available resources to record landmark achievements during the year. The high-level multi-sectoral GBV Management Committee oversees the implementation of the GBV law and related matters in the state, with initiatives like GBV Offenders Register, aimed at naming and shaming offenders, Drop the Blade, an innovative response to female genital mutilation, Sexual Assault Referral Center, named Moremi Clinic and Transit Home and Skill Development Center, among others. Ekiti has become a no-flying zone for all forms of gender-based violence, as well as a haven of succor when they do occur.
Wow, so much in 1 year. Kudos. It's been a long haul this week, and this is where we'll be drawing the curtain on today's edition of the program. Hope you enjoyed it. Do join us next week for a fresh package. Remember, you can watch this episode and previous editions on our YouTube channel, Ekiti on the Move. You can also give your feedback on our other social media platforms showing on your screen. Till next time, please stay safe and goodbye.
Ekiti Mgt